The third phrase that we hear very often is, I hate. It's either you or dad or Jimmy or the teacher or hockey or homework or whatever. There's really passionate, I hate. It comes as a shock, and it comes as a, oh, that's just so exaggerated, or that's you don't really. And our natural instinct as parents and educators says, no, you don't. Come on, let's be kind, or can't you feel sorry for that person? Or we're trying to give them the rational reasons why it's hate is a hugely powerful and big word. So going back to the nervous system regulation, that powerful energy or that emotion or the repulsion that we feel, or the pushing away, or it's very strong, but we often don't know what it is that's making us feel, I've got to get away from this. So there's two things there going on. The first is overwhelming, something's overwhelming. I hate hockey, or I hate car journeys, or I hate supermarkets. There could be something overwhelming about that experience that child isn't able to break down into its component parts. So they might hate, all the bright lights in a supermarket, or they might hate, the feeling of being very cold and out of breath, or there'll be something that is objective and real and is overwhelming or overstimulating, but they don't have the words to be able to describe that. When it's about another person, very often that I hate is voicing what we call rejection sensitivity. So with children with ASD and with ADHD, because our sensory information, because we pick up on so much, we pick up on light and smells and touch and tastes, but we also pick up on people's emotions. And we will interpret someone's look or someone's words, tone of voice, which actually objectively is just, oh, go away. A child with RSD, and this is one of the traits of neurodivergence, will take that much, much more to heart, be much, much more personalized. Part of it is just not being able to process that those words are said at a 30% level. I don't like you around. And we take it as 100%. I never want us around, or I am too much or too uncomfortable. And we start to build this, I am unworthy. I no one loves me. Everyone hates me. And it's distressing. And a child hasn't got the emotional maturity, the emotional intelligence to be able to say, okay, in that situation, that person was a bit tired. Maybe I'd said too much, or maybe that's triggering for them. It's their problem. So I'm going to just say, do you know what? That's their problem, and I'm fine, and I'm going to go off. Children don't have that emotional intelligence to be able to assess the magnitude or the significance of what people say. They just feel hurt or sad or upset. So emotional regulation is often a matter of, it's like the sort of volume control. We just haven't appreciated, 1 to 10, how strong is what that person has said? How do they mean it? And neither are children able to say, to put a boundary and to put a limit and to say, and to contain that, saying, I get it. So we need to scaffold and help our children to understand that very strong emotion. And by validating their emotions, we can say, I get it. Yeah, that must hurt, or that sounds as if it could be really mean. Let's just look at that again. Were you tired? Were they tired? What other things have they done to cheer you up on other days? How have they, been there for you? And we try and highlight the positive, not to say you're wrong or, you've got the wrong end of the stick, but just to say, just let's have a little, I can see you're upset. Just let's have a little think or recall all the good things about that person. And that's positive reinforcement, that at that moment that child who's upset and feeling very sensitive can't access the positive, that they've just spiraled into the negative. So without being sort of, oh, you'll forget about it, oh, that doesn't matter, oh, you know they're a really good person, with that tone of voice, we validate what they're feeling and we try and say, what do you think? What do you remember? What else is there? Activating their curiosity, their curious mind. Look, it doesn't work straight away, but it's important to see that that's what's happening. They've felt rejected more than you as parents or adults might be rejected, and they need to learn how to go beyond that phrase and look for the positives.